P2P members and daily mobility people. We're going to get into the pelvis today. So really important area. Also want to quick talk to you about the 5 elements of efficiency. So these are things that you might jot down. As you're doing any of these joint mobility practices, you want perfect form. So we want to get through a specific movement pattern with good form. We want dynamic postural alignment, and that's that lengthening, spinal lengthening, tall posture, synchronized respiration. So a lot of times people will hold their breath when they're doing a new movement, new exercise, and so we want you to breathe through the movement pattern. Good inhale, exhale, and then we can do different things with syncing that, like maybe in the front part of the knee circle we work on exhaling, or we do an exhale for 2 knee circles, and then we do an inhale for 1 knee circle. So there's different ways to synchronize respiration with the other movements. Balance, tension, and relaxation we've talked about a little bit. We want to just create enough tension for the working area to complete the movement, not any more tension than that. And then rhythm, so we can work on different tempos, different rhythms. Again, great thing to just quick jot down if you're taking some notes. We're going to go into the pelvis today again. So knees bent, we're going to be in a fairly neutral stance, tall posture, and we're going to get into that knee bend to allow the pelvis to move a little bit more freely. So the first one that we're going to do is an anterior posterior tilt. So if you imagine that your pelvis is a bowl, we're going to tip the bowl forward and then gently tip the bowl back. As much as possible, we want to isolate that movement in the pelvis, so keeping the rest of the spine, the rest of the back out of it for the most part. The muscles do attach into the lumbar spine, so we are going to have some connection there, but do your best to focus that movement in the pelvis. That's anterior, posterior, tipping the bowl forward to back. You could do a little bit of gait assessment. Maybe we do a squat assessment again today, so that was a good one from last time for the hips. So let's try a couple squats and then we'll go into the rest of the movement patterns for the pelvis. Just get an idea again for the comfort, smoothness, and the depth of that squat. And then we're going to go into a lateral tilt. So now we're tipping the bowl side to side. So that pelvic bowl again, knees bent. We're going to then take the tilt to the right and then to the left. If you've ever raised a teenage girl or interacted with a teenage girl that maybe got an attitude and they wanted to tell you something, hand on the hip, that's this lateral hip hike, okay, or the lateral shift in the pelvis. So a few of those, then go ahead and reassess, do a little walk, and then do your squat. So second rep there felt better for me. Then we're going to go into pelvic circles. So we're combining anterior posterior with lateral. So now we're going to take the pelvis through a full circle. If you know where your tailbone is and you can just touch that, imagine that your tailbone is drawing a circle on a whiteboard that's parallel to the floor. So that's one way to think about it. Again, tall posture through the spine, fairly still through the rest of the spine, and then trying to get, again, that pelvis to move in a circular fashion. Go ahead and walk a little bit, and then let's do one more squat reassessment. And I want to also add in some lunge positions today. So Dr. Cobb says life is lunging, and I think there's some truth to that. So walking patterns, lunging patterns, there's a lot of similarity, and a lot of what we do is not just the strictly bilateral neutral stance. A lot of times we're stepping, we're going to pick something up, and so there's a lot of value in learning these movements and coupling them with some lunge positions. So let's go to a side lunge, and then let's try your anterior posterior tilt there. So tipping the pelvic bowl forward to back again, then lunge the other way, and re-tilt. Go back through that pelvic pattern, good. And then try your squat again. You could do another range of motion assessment if you wanted to. Just keep it consistent. And so that one felt decent for me. We could also go into a forward lunge and then work on a different movement in the pelvis. So you can get creative with this and go through just different couplings of the directions that you could lunge with the pelvic movements. So you could do a lateral tilt here, a front to back, or in this case, working on a circle. So try the other lunge, forward lunge again. And then if you've done hula hoop before, hula hooping, I'm not very good at it, but this should feel a little bit like that, a slower version of that hula hoop type motion. So we got pelvic circle in forward lunge, and then try again walking a little bit and reassess the squat. So decent drill for me. Hope it was awesome for you. And in the next videos, we're going to get into the lumbar spine and then working through the rest of the spine. A lot of really important, valuable mobility drills in the spinal column. So thanks, and appreciate you moving along with me. Keep working on your daily mobility.